Hello and welcome to the Keto Man's Club podcast.
We're glad you're here, where each week we talk about men's health and lifestyle.
We do so with the foundation of the ketogenic diet and lifestyle.
If you don't know what keto is, stick around and you'll find out.
The podcast will bring you real, honest fun.
Each week we strive to uncover the tips and tricks that you can use in your everyday life to maximize your overall health.
Find the clearest path to becoming the best version of yourself that you were meant to be.
Welcome back to the long-belated return of the Keto Man's Club podcast. My name is Chris. I'm one of your hosts, and this week we are joined by all three of us from October. So this is Chris from the future talking about Chris and everybody else from the past. Today's episode, we have Frank Campanella, who is a fantastic friend of the podcast, and he had just released past tense, his Keto for Beginners cookbook, and it's a fantastic cookbook. You do not want to miss on it, but we talk about that and about the development process, what that's been like with him, and so stay tuned for that. We're still here, we're living, we're thriving, and we're looking forward to creating and sharing more content. I've just been insanely busy, like I mentioned in the podcast, actually, that I've had just opportunity after opportunity laid in my lap that I haven't been able to pass up. And so for, business building and everything else, I've just been very, very, very busy, and thus not able to really focus on my passion project, which is, of course, this podcast. So we are excited to try to get back up in the swing of things. I've got 2 or 3 more episodes in the can that we need to get out and into the world. And then somewhere while we're doing that, we'll also be starting to record new episodes. So we've got some cool things going on. I'm going to talk about a couple things here in just a few moments. Just a couple quick announcements with that. Number one, we are super excited that we are going to be at KetoCon. KetoCon is July 8th through the 10th in beautiful Austin, Texas. It will be very, very hot, but it will be beautiful, I promise you. You can get your tickets at ketocon.org, and for an extra 10% off your ticket price, you can use discount code KMCP, Keto Man's Club Podcast, and that will get you 10% off your order. We are excited to get to meet in person with everybody, and beyond that, the Keto Man's Club podcast has our own session that we're going to have that's going to be focused on men's health. And as far as I'm aware, it's the first time at KetoCon that there will be a session that's targeted at men and men's health. So I'm really excited to get to be a part of that. The 3 hosts, Jim, Berto, and myself, will be moderating it, but we're probably going to have a panel of several different people talking and sharing their different viewpoints and things like that. So we don't have all the details on that yet, but we're really excited that we've been asked to do that and to get to be on the speaking panel officially this year. It's really, really cool. Number 2, we are actively pursuing sponsorship with brands that align with our vision and with what we want to do as a podcast. And we're doing that not so that anybody can get rich, but we are wanting to make it so that I can pay a contractor that I already have kind of waiting in the wings to do the editing of our podcast for us. And so we need to have a little bit of funding for that. It will also help pay for the hosting and the website and things like that. There's been a lot of small investment made over the time financially to keep this going, and just so that it's not a burden on any one person or group, we are looking for sponsoring. So if you are a brand or have connections with a brand that you would like to partner with us, we'd love to have a conversation with you. Email us at ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com. Number 3, I announced a giveaway that's still happening. But the time frame, of course, that I announced in the podcast episode is long past at this point. So the giveaway is still happening, though. We are going to be giving away our little decals, the TKMC decals. And so we're going to put those, we're going to give anybody that leaves a review, posts about it on social media, tags the podcast, and messages us a decal that they can use on their car, on their water bottle, wherever they'd like to. Just to recap the steps. So you're going to post a review. I'm going to give a couple links in the description or in the show notes so that you can easily do so. But you're going to go and leave a review for the podcast on one of the platforms that allows it. I think it's going to be Amazon, Spotify, I think has that now. And then Apple Podcast definitely does. And so you can go there, leave a review, take a screenshot of that with your phone, with your computer, then share that to your social media. So say a few words there, whether that be Instagram. You can put it in our Facebook group, the Keto Man's Club or Keto 101. Feel free to put it in either of those as well. Just make sure to tag Jim, Berto, or myself so that we can see it, so we can get the credit. We want to share those things out with others as well. And lastly, so that we can get your address and the information that we need to be able to send you the decal. Message us on Instagram, email us, or message us on Facebook. We're pretty open to that conversation. We're pretty accessible. And so you can message us, let us know, hey, I did everything. Here's my address. And then we will get that sent out to you as soon as we can. Once all the decals are gone, we're going to have another drawing from that same grouping of people to give away an item of merch. So one of our Life Cycle shirts or the TKMC shirts or hoodies. Basically, we're going to give you some opportunity to choose, but the basic idea is that you're going to have some items. You're going to one person from amongst that grouping of people who have reviewed will get to pick an item from the merch store, which is being redesigned right now. And once we have that up and around, I will make sure to blast it out so that everybody can check it out. We don't have any new designs yet, but as soon as we have the new website up, then I'll be freed up to focus a little bit more on trying to get and create some new designs. Finally, watch our social media channels for the cookbook giveaway that we talk about, and that's how you will hear about how we're going to do that. We want to give away some of Frank's books, and so that's on our agenda as well. But just watch Instagram more than likely for that. Thank you for your support and supporting us continuously. I checked the statistics the other day. We are nearly 75,000 downloads in at this point with only 110. This is episode 110 of the Keto Man's Club podcast. And I am so beyond honored. And I know that Jim and Berto share this with me, that we are so honored that you would take time to listen, to download, to check out the conversations that we've been able to host and help spread the stories that are being shared, because that's really what it's all about for us. So your continued downloading and supporting the podcast, even when we go months at this point without sharing anything, is just beyond me. And I really appreciate it greatly. Without any further prelude, on to past Chris and our conversation with Frank Campanella. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Keto Man's Club podcast. My name is Chris. I'm one of your hosts, and as always, I'm joined by Jim and Alberto. And I shouldn't say as always because it's varied a lot lately. But you know, that's just kind of how life is. How's it going, Jim? We haven't seen you in forever.
Oh, 2020.
I just like the...
So
that was great. That was great. So I think you wouldn't even have to say anything else, and everyone would be like, "I get it. I get
it." 2021 can just bite it. No, it's okay. Lots going on. We're doing some home stuff. As I told you guys before we came on, I'm in my little spare home office, and I've got all kinds of stuff around me because I'm getting ready to put flooring in next week. So I had to move a bunch of furniture and whatnot. It's just, as everybody was last year for 2021 to come and be better, I'm hoping for 2022 to come and be better. So you don't want to wish your life away, but let's move on. So it's okay. I'm sorry to be the downer right at the start, but hanging. How are you guys?
Life is pretty good in Texas. It's getting a little cooler. Berto, you've been busy.
Yeah. Well, like Jim said, the year's been stressful, but I've made it a point that this year was going to be the first year where I don't roll over any vacation days. I've been working for the same company forever, so I got a ton of vacation, and I'm not going to stop taking days off until they say this one's going to cost you, and then I'll stop taking days off. But yeah, we did our annual Big Bend camping trip a couple weeks back. That was fun. Just a nice way to kind of just get away and unplug and stare at the sky. It's a long drive, 8 hours to get there. Sleeping in a tent ain't always the greatest, but the pros definitely outweigh the cons as far as like a mental reset goes, and just being able to just take a breather and chill, And then to follow that up, I went the complete opposite direction of taking a breather and chill, and competed in my first jiu-jitsu tournament last weekend, which was arguably the single most terrifying thing I've ever done in my adult life on purpose. But we did it, and I took second place in my division, and I even though I weighed in, like my weight division was 168.5 to 180 pounds, I weighed in at 169 pounds. So I was at the very bottom end of my weight division, just said, oh, well, here we go, and went for it, took second place.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You've done really well with all of that, and it wasn't an easy win either or an easy loss for the other person. Like, you didn't take it easy and just like barely. It was 19-2 in points.
Yeah.
It was, that.
The only thing I missed was just getting a submission on him, but it was just and Yvette recorded it, and I happened to watch it, and a lot of it was I think that I just gassed him out, because it was only about a minute and a half left, and then that's when I just started racking up points like crazy, and I honestly think the guy just didn't have it in him to put as much of a fight back as he wanted to. But it's the way it goes, though. I didn't do great. I went a little too hard on that match, then paid for it on my second match. So you live, you learn, and we all shook hands, hugged, and stood next to each other on the podium when we were all done, and had a good old time.
Yeah, that's one of those things. There was going to be a Kung Fu tournament a little while back, and it ended up getting canceled last minute, unfortunately. So I didn't get to enjoy that challenge the way that I was looking forward to. And truth is, after doing some sparring the last couple of weeks, I'm not ready yet. I'm still going to do the next tournament whenever that is, whether I'm ready or not. But I definitely have some skills to build up to make sure that my instincts are where they need to be on blocking and things like that. I'm probably a little too aggressive and leave myself open for stuff. I've been keeping up with Kung Fu and getting to the gym a little bit, doing a little bit of lifting, nothing as major as I would like, but work life's been very, very busy, which is normal for me, but it's getting more so with the great opportunities that I'm blessed to have rolling in almost every day. And so that's fantastic and scary all at the same time. But yeah, really just staying very busy and keeping things going around the house and trimming trees and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, just life. Let's talk about the podcast club business real quickly. Just a reminder to our listeners and subscribers, make sure that you are set to follow the podcast on all the platforms, and that way you don't miss an episode. And if you find today's episode or any of our episodes beneficial to you, they might be beneficial to somebody else. So go ahead and share it with them, whether it be social media or anywhere. just word of mouth and things like that. We'd love to have you continue to be able to join us, and we want to grow the family as best as we can. Okay, so you can connect with us via our website. That's probably the most important thing that we'd love for you to do, is to connect with us on our website, theketomansclub.com. You have our social links. You have links to Berto's coaching page. You have all of our product partners that we've worked with and have codes for. Just all sorts of stuff there. You can also email us at ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call and leave a voicemail at 512-518-6161. We would love to hear and connect with you, and all of that. And so I kind of hinted at this, and I forget which episode it was that I hinted at it. It was one of the most recent ones, but I'm going to go ahead and announce it, and then we'll make a slide and post it to Instagram so that it can go out there. But right now it's October 5th. And again, we'll announce this on social media so that everybody can see it. I want to do a giveaway, just a simple giveaway in this case. So what we're going to do, we've got a whole bunch of these decals that Berto is nice enough to print off for us or cut out for us. We've got a whole bunch of those here, and we can make more of them if we need to. And what we want to do is have you go to Apple Podcasts or any podcast platform that accepts reviews. And here it's basically 3 steps. Do a review of the podcast. Tell us what you think, if you like it or not. And then take a screenshot of that and post that to your social media, tagging Keto Man's Club Podcast or on Instagram or Facebook. Either way, tag us on either one. That way we can see it and all of that. If you do that, I guess 4th step, message us and let us know that you did, and give us your address. We'll send you a decal. It's not a big thing, but it's we'd love you to be able to show your membership and your camaraderie with us, and we'd love to get your feedback. And so we'll do whatever we need to do it. And so I think that's a cool thing, and maybe, just maybe, we can work out a merch drawing from among those that get in on the review action. So that may be an added bonus for that. But if you're hearing this, I plan to get this out by within enough time for you to be able to participate. We'll do this let's do it for 60 days. Let's say until, so it's October, so this beginning of December. And so that will be easy enough for people to be able to get in on and all of that. So yeah, TKMC decals going out to anyone who gives a review on either Apple Podcasts or any podcast platform that accepts reviews, and posting publicly a post about that review on social media, and tagging us. Pretty relatively simple. Watch our Instagram for details. Okay, so I think that's it for now. Any other,
one quick thing, because we haven't actually talked about this. So, end of last month, I got an email for KetoCon 2022. Looks like it's going to be happening in July. And July in Texas sounds so appealing, let me tell you.
Could be August.
So hopefully, I'll trust you on that one, Berto.
I would lie and say it's a dry heat, but it's not.
Well, July 8th through the 10th is when KetoCon 2022 is planned. So we've been on the books for 2020, and it didn't happen, and 2021 didn't happen. So paying it forward to 2022. So hopefully we'll see some folks down there.
Absolutely, we'd love to do that. And it's going to be a good time, and it's going to happen. I went to a conference 2 weeks ago that was held here in Austin, so I know they can happen. So we're starting to get back to real life. So the oxygen deprivation wasn't terrible because it was a nice wide open space and plenty of non-recycled oxygen was available. Anyway, let's dig into our shout outs real quick, not drag that out. Let's start with Jim.
So my shout out is to Christian Bayer. Christian is in our 101 club, Keto 101 Man's Club, and he lives in Waveland, Mississippi. And over the last 2 years, he's dropped 140 pounds. He says he went from 335 triple X 4850 pants down to 193 3334 waistline pants. And he wrote in the group about his wife becoming injured and becoming disabled and how that changed their life, anxiety, depression, a lot of different things and whatnot. So he's got some awesome side-by-sides before and after and everything, and just seems like a heck of a nice guy. So kudos to Christian for all the effort there. And a quick shout out to Brett Stapley, who continues to show up and be awesome in the gym and tracking it all in the 101 club as well.
Berto, how about you?
Quick and simple. Our good friend with a great sense of humor, Mark Sartoris, and he's been pretty much saying, I'm lazy, but I'm still eating keto. Here's some very fast recipes you can make, and then throwing out some of these recipes that he's making is just about as basic and fast as you can make a meal out of, and that's always helpful.
Yep. Yeah, they all definitely look pretty good. So we've already talked about it, but I'm going to, flip the script. Berto likes to, come on, and shout us out sometimes. I'm going to shout out Berto because he's out there, he's working his tail off, he's doing all these things, and he's doing them to better himself, but he's doing it also because he's being a dad and trying to live that out for his daughters and his son, and really just trying to be his absolute best version of himself and doing what is necessary for that. And I highly respect that. I'm inspired by that and encouraged by that, because it does help me to know that, I could do it too if he can, the autoimmune disease and everything else aside. So thank you, Berto, for being who you are and inspiring and pushing us, because sometimes we need pushed.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I don't know who's cutting that.
Okay. So let's dive into our return guest today. We've talked with him before, and this is exciting times. But Berto, you actually have one of these in hand. So why don't you go ahead and introduce today's topic?
That look familiar? No, we got everybody's friend Frank Campanella, who, this is your first book, I believe. Came out with his very own cookbook. And I'm not going to lie to you. About 6 weeks ago, my refrigerator crapped out, and I haven't had a refrigerator for 6 weeks. So I've been purposely not opening this book because I don't have anywhere to store ingredients or store leftovers. The fridge got delivered today, and I was actually cracked this thing open, took a deep dive through it a little bit ago, and yeah, man, it's a lot of good stuff here, man. I can't wait to talk to you about it, but it is the Easy Keto Diet for Beginners. There it is. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. Everything from starters to desserts to sides to basics, a little bit of exercises, conversion guide. Give me a letter. Shoot a letter out, guys.
Q. Haha.
Oh. He had to go for Q. Give me another letter.
Can you buy a vowel?
T. Let's start with T.
There you go.
Tacos, tahini, tuna. It just goes on and on here. Trout.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that you can see that, but it goes on and on and on. I'm very excited about this book. I'm very excited to talk to Frank. He's been on this show many, many times, and I and we have all cooked a bunch of his recipes in the past, just based off his website. So having a hard copy of this is really, really cool. And man, I just want to talk to you about it. What was it like?
Well, it was cool. This book has been in the works since before the pandemic started, and
this is the first time I've ever written a book. So it was I didn't know what to expect. So you go into it, and you work with a publisher for the first time, and they kind of, give you the expectations, but nowhere in the contract did I read about the world, getting flipped upside down, worldwide paper shortages to where they weren't going to publish the book right away. There were delays. The publisher actually kind of pretty much stopped production of all of their books for a little while, and I just didn't know if the book was going to actually come out. And then I guess about 6 months ago, they called me up out of the blue and they said, we're back on track. The world's trying to put itself back together, and we're going to put this cookbook out. So, we kind of, what we did was we took what I wrote, over 2 years ago, and then we decided to kind of maybe add a little bit to it, reconfigure a few recipes, because, I've as I keep cooking, more ideas come to me. So it seemed like a good idea to just kind of revisit the book again and maybe tweak a few recipes based on, different ingredients that I'm using. But it's finally out. It came out last week. It's available Amazon, any bookstores. If you're going to like a Barnes and Noble or something, you might want to just call ahead and check, because I know that availabilities of everything are kind of goofy right now. But Amazon's probably definitely the safest place to pick it up. So I'm really happy to have it out.
What was where did you start? I mean, were you looking at all of your recipes, or did you say that I wanted to do a dinner only kind of thing, or how did you kind of get the ball rolling with everything?
Well, so it's kind of an interesting process where, the publisher actually reached out to me and they said, we've kind of got a broad idea for a book, and we're looking to bring somebody in, who's got some creativity and write it. So, this being a beginner's book, it put me in a position where I could go back making simplified versions. I've worked as a chef for over 20 years, so not everything I cook is simple and not everything I cook is for beginners, but it allowed me to kind of take some of those culinary recipes that I have and kind of make simplified versions of it, because I think when someone's starting keto or just trying to get, any kind of new lifestyle started, you don't want it to be overwhelming. So we tried to kind of make very approachable versions of really tasty food. And then, just kind of build it off of that. So there's appetizers, there's seafood dishes, there's steak dishes. There's even, I begrudgingly threw in about a dozen vegetarian dishes. The publisher had to fight me on that a little bit, but, they won. I think it's a well-rounded book. I think there's something for everybody in there. And, it was a great experience, for me. And I was telling Berto before that we got on, if you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be writing cookbooks now, that would have been the last thought in my brain. But I'm very happy about it, and I can't wait to hopefully do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Now, you've done recipe development and restaurant, launching and all sorts of different things like this, in some form, in the kitchen for a while. How did this differ from the previous exploits in building your blog, writing for other people, and things like that?
Well, when I worked in the restaurant business, one of the things I always ended up doing was I would be brought in whenever a new concept was put together. So let's say the owners of the restaurant decided they wanted to do a seafood concept. So they'd come to me and they'd say, "Hey, we bought this location. We're going to put a kitchen in. We want you to help design it. We want you to kind of develop a menu. We want you to train the staff." And so it starts out very similar, where you start doing research. If it's a subject or a cuisine that maybe I'm not as well versed in, I'm going to start doing a little bit of research on it and seeing trends, look at, other menus in the area. And it's the same for a book. You want to look at what ingredients you intend on using. And I treated the book almost like I would a menu. which I don't know if that's how other authors do it. That's just the way that it made sense to me, because in the restaurant business, we use a word called cross-utilization. And if I have filet mignon on the menu, I need to use it 2 or 3 times. I can't just have a product that only, an ingredient that is only used once on a menu. So if you look at this book overall, you'll see a kind of certain ingredients that we use over and over again in different ways. So you don't have to go out and buy 1,000 ingredients to make recipes in the cookbook. You can buy the basics, and then you'll find that you'll make a lot of different recipes out of the same book. So that's, for me, that was one of the approaches that was similar to what I do in the restaurant business. I actually just helped out with a project in Baltimore. I'm here in Maryland, and we have a Detroit pizza place in Baltimore, and it was the same. When you look at like a pizza menu, you got all these toppings, and you don't want to just use all these toppings in one place. So you kind of look for ways to either use them in a salad, use them in a couple different ways. But I would say that I think the owners went for it. We're going to have lavash bread, and we're going to actually have a low-carb pizza on the menu at this Detroit pizza place. So I made the owners a low-carb version, and everybody loved it, and I think it's going to end up on the menu. So we'll not only have the Detroit style, but we'll also have a low-carb pizza there.
With all the recipes and everything, and by the way, I just bought it on Amazon, so
you are the man.
And we're going to do a little something at the end here about that as well. I think one of the things that people get frustrated about, I shouldn't say frustrated, but all the things that go into cooking, the preparation, the spices, all those kinds of things and whatnot, how do you get people to just understand the importance of going through that process to get a quality product? Because so many people, I drive home every night and there's 20 people in a fast food drive-through lane. I'm like, why are you doing this to yourselves? So, do you run into people who struggle with the idea of actually making food?
I totally get it. Sometimes, and this happened to me, and this was one of my pitfalls throughout my career, is I would cook all night long, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And the last thing I felt like doing when I got home was cooking more. And I fell victim to that drive-through line. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. And but I think that what I discovered for myself was if I just did a little bit of pre-planning and just cooking the proteins ahead of time. Sometimes having some like grilled chicken in the fridge to I'll walk home or get home one night and I'm starving but I'm tired. I'll just grab some chicken, chop it up, and, just dip it in some buffalo sauce or, some ranch. And is it the greatest thing in the world? No. I'm eating cold chicken, 10 o'clock at night sometimes, but it's a hell of a lot better than going out to McDonald's and do Big Macs. So, I think that every good choice is a win. So if you kind of just set yourself up a little bit, having some, veggies chopped up so you can throw a salad together, ground beef. I always keep ground beef cooked off so I can almost just reheat it in a pan so it's less mess. I can make taco salads with that, stuff like that. So just you don't have to go gourmet. You don't have to, I know weekends I'll splurge. I'll go a little crazy. I'll make some really cool stuff. But, on the weeknights, it's just kind of having maybe some proteins ready and some veggies chopped up. That really helps out.
Yeah, the ability to have food on hand and ready is super powerful. I know for me, what I'll end up doing, my meal prep is extremely simple, especially because I've been primarily carnivore. I'll get a 5-pound tube of meat, and I know it's not the best, quality of stuff, but I get the stuff that says it's not antibiotic. you only trust that so far, but I'll cook that up either into burger patties or just something very simple so that I don't even have to heat it up. Like I just literally pull it out of the fridge and start eating. And sometimes that's all we need, but that's how I get my protein in. And that's how I just having it ready, doing it in mass, taking 30 minutes. And it really doesn't take that long to make a lot of food in a short amount of time when you do it all at once. And luckily we have a very large smoker and now we have a gas grill, so I can do a lot all at once, outside, and I have dishes to do. Sure. Lots of options there. What are, so you mentioned some of your go-tos with that, in general, but, are there any outlier, items that are just like they keep forever, or they really end up being the thing that you suggest most to the people who say, "Oh, I don't know how to cook"?
I think you have to look at it there's a couple ways. You're either going to spend the money and buy prepared foods. There are prepared meal plans. If you want to have those kind of Hello Chef style, meals, that's an easy way to do it. And you're going to pay for it. So you have, it's either going to be cheap or it's going to be good, but it's not going to be both. So you kind of have to balance out what your schedule, allows. So what I do is I'm trying to think, low carb dinners near me, and they've got like a low carb menu, and it's not perfect. They version of low probably wouldn't meet the keto standard, but it's still in the ballpark and it's still a lot better. And so one week I might go ahead and spend the money and order from them, but the rest of the week I'm going to try to, do like we talked about earlier, have the ground beef ready. I eat a lot of shrimp and a lot of fish as well. I'm an East Coast guy, so I eat a lot of seafood. It's just something I enjoy. So, I'll take a whole side of salmon and I'll smoke that in the smoker, and then I'll shred some of it for salmon cakes. I'll break some of it up for salads, and you can take just one whole huge hunk of fish and get 5 different meals out of it. So I think planning ahead will really help out your cause.
So as I was flipping through this book, I couldn't help but notice that it is a cookbook, but it has an exercise section and a little bit on fasting and other stuff. Was that your idea to add these other things in there?
It was funny. It was not my idea. And I was actually very apprehensive about it because I'm not the fitness guru. That's not what I'm here for. And I've never made a claim to be the epitome of fitness, because God knows I'm not. But it was something where they wanted to make it a complete guide and cover all the bases. So we wanted to have a meal plan so that for someone who's, new to all of this, to make it more approachable. And as far as the exercise go, what I tried to do is I tried to make that exercises that anybody can do. So this is stuff that, it's going to get you started. It's a great place. It's a building block, but, by no means is this, a fitness-based book. It's more of just, if you need something to get the ball rolling, it's a good place to start. There's so many other good resources in the community for actual fitness routines. There's this guy Berto that I know. He's got some, great stuff. And, if you need fitness stuff, give them a call. But I wanted to have something in there. And fasting has always been part of keto for me. I actually started fasting before I even learned about keto. So for me, when I first started losing weight, it started with fasting, and then I found that keto made fasting easier. So I made that transition into it. So I know some people end up doing it the other way around, but for me, it started with fasting.
I dig it. I think that's a pretty cool addition to the book. Like you said, it's in there and it gets covered, so you never know. Someone might be flipping through it and be like, well, I wasn't thinking about working out, but now that I saw this in here, there's something I can do while I'm waiting for my dinner to cook, And
exactly.
I think it's great. I saw that part of it, and I was really impressed. It's definitely a little different, a little thinking out of the box, but never hurts at all.
Yeah, no, like I said, I wanted to make sure that the book was something that if a person woke up 4 a.m. and had an epiphany that they were going to change their life and they wanted to go out and get a book that was going to get them started, this is the book that's going to have you covered, on all your bases.
So one of the things, Frank, that, I hear, and I think Chris and Berto would echo this as well, is the frustration of drinking water all the time. And having not seen your book yet, any drinks in there, any recipes for something, or any ideas of, or what have you done besides just drinking water? I mean, I know people add lemon and different things, but any thoughts on that as he takes a swig?
Yeah, as I take a sip of water to answer my hydration question, I'll be the first person to admit I don't always get it right. I enjoy a Diet Coke from time to time, and I know that's terrible, and it's one of those things. But I'm the guy who used to drink a 2 liter of soda in a day. So for me to have 2 Diet Cokes a week, I'm completely fine with that, and I make no apology, other than when I apologized a second ago. But I rescind that earlier apology. Drinking water is great, and I fight with it. I forget to drink liquid just in general. Going through my day, I'll turn around and it'll be 4:00 in the afternoon, and I'll see the water bottle that I keep, and I'm like, I haven't filled this damn thing up once in the entire day. I'm like, what have I been drinking? I have a coffee every morning, and I swear to God, I'll nurse that thing throughout the day because I'm definitely the Starbucks guy, and I go to Starbucks 7 days a week, which is terrible to admit. The people at Starbucks actually know my order and my face as soon as I pull up, and they write little cute notes on top of my cup, and it's amusing, depressing at the same time. But I will nurse that coffee until about 10:30, 11 in the morning, and I realize that I haven't had a single sip of water. So as far as the book goes, there's some smoothies in there, and It's funny because I'm not the biggest smoothie drinker. I actually enjoy them. They're delicious, but I treat them more like a dessert than I do a way to start my day. So there's a blackberry cheesecake smoothie, and it's delicious, but I couldn't picture myself drinking it in the morning. But I know that for some people, they're used to a big bowl of fruit in the morning, and this might be a better alternative for them. So, for me, that's an after dinner dessert treat, but for some people that might be a perfect way to start the day. So I guess there's no wrong answer. It's whatever works and whatever fits into your lifestyle.
On that, how easy or how difficult did you find it to create recipes that fit into some variation, because of course there's lots of variations, but some variation of a ketogenic macro ratio, and I haven't looked at the book yet. I put my order in just a few minutes ago because I just hadn't thought about it. I've been busy, so I haven't seen it myself, but are the macros in there and things like that, so that for to make tracking easier, or all of that?
Sure. Yeah. The what we do is, and this was the coolest part, because when you look, I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but I did too much calculations. What we did was I wrote all the recipes out, and I kind of had I've been doing this long enough, writing my blog for years now, where I know how much, carbs are in stuff. And so I knew the ingredients and I knew the ratios that I wanted to stick to. And then the publishing team helps out and does a lot of the macro calculations. And then what they do is, after the book's written, I get a pre-production copy, and then I get to go through it. And they had a few questions for me. They're like, well, this didn't make sense, or, maybe we want to adjust this. And then I had a few where I thought their calculations seemed off. So we kind of put our heads together, went back through it. And, I'll say, and I was talking to my publisher earlier today, actually, and I told them that the hardest part of the book was putting together the meal plan, because you want to have a perfect macros for an entire day, and you want to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, drinks. And I felt like I was playing Tetris blindfolded. And it was just trying to put all these puzzle pieces together. And every time I thought I had it right, I did I added up all the macros for the end of the day, and it was 80 carbs. And I'm like, start over, and and it was funny because I felt like I kept using the same 6 of them over and over again. So I had to kind of, because once I found, like, the smoothie was easy because it was like perfect macros. And so I kept slapping that one for breakfast. I'm like, so it was a tough process. And obviously I learned a lot in how, a book's made from start to finish. But yeah, the meal plan section was the toughest, but I also think it could be the most helpful for people that aren't sure what a day of eating should look like. So you've got a full, I believe, 4-week meal plan that'll get you through and get you started. And I've talked to a lot of people that have really scoured through that meal plan and looked at it and said, is this all I got to do? Just follow this? And I said, yeah. I said, if you stick to this plan, this is going to get you off to a great start and, set you up for success.
That's pretty good stuff. Like I said, I've been flipping this thing nonstop ever since we started talking. I'm actually going to put it down. But I did notice that smoothie you just talked about is definitely my kind of smoothie, because you put a tip in there about how it's like 750 calories.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be all about that one. Trust me.
It's almost like a fruity keto brick,
Yeah, there you go. It's not a bad way to market it.
Exactly.
So, any other books in your future that you're aware of, or are you going to maybe do something grilling, something smoking? You got your hands in everything. And I mean, now that you got your toes wet in the pool, so to speak, I'm sure the ideas are just spinning around your head like crazy.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was just talking with, like I said, the publisher earlier today, and it sounds like, I can't go into too much detail, but it looks like we're going to have a steak book coming out next. And so this book is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be exclusively keto, but it's going to be, I'd say, probably 75, 80% keto. But it's going to be all about grilling steak, different cuts of steak, different sauces to go with steak. And it's funny because when I think of sauces for steak, I think of the classic French sauces. And a lot of classic French sauces are just butter and cream and, like a Béarnaise sauce, Hollandaise, so a lot of these classic steakhouse sauces that are really fancy and, you pay, $38 for, a steak or more, are actually very keto friendly. So I'd say if you're going out to dinner, a high-end steakhouse might be the best bet for eating a solid keto meal. So I'm hoping that that book will be out in the spring. I've got, I've been doing a lot of consulting. What's been cool is since the pandemic's kind of winding down, cross your fingers, hopefully, I've got a lot of friends that have been trying to reopen restaurants and kind of get life back to normal. So I just finished with 2 restaurant projects. Both of those restaurants are now open. And then I've been, trying to keep up with my 2 blogs with Culinary Lion. I'm still working on that. We actually just revamped the entire website yesterday. So if you want to go check out the brand new, nice and pretty culinarylion.com, that's ready to roll with all your, keto and low carb recipes. And then Grilling 24/7 is my grilling website with all the barbecue and the smoking and stuff like that. So, I'm incredibly busy, but this beats the hell out of having a real job. So I've been incredibly, I'm blessed that I'm able to do this, and never thought that this could be a career, but it's been awesome. So I don't take it for granted. So I get up and I hustle every day, and I make it happen because I really enjoy doing this, and I think it's it's what I want to keep doing. So I keep pushing it. So more books, more blogs, more recipes, and all the good stuff that goes in between.
Have you ever done a post, or is there anything in the book about the substitute ingredients for recipes. Because, I was looking at something here a minute ago. Of course, now I've lost it already. But, there's like xanthan gum and there's stevia and there's all these different things out there. And a lot of people don't know what they are. Have you talked about that somewhere that people could go and like learn what these things are and how they balance it out if they're doing a recipe?
So in the book, there's actually a section of like staple ingredients, and some of the staple ingredients are a little bit strange for someone who's maybe not coming from a keto background. Ingredients like allulose, which is my preferred sweetener. So out of all the sweeteners that I've used and tried for baking, and I don't do a ton of baking. It's not I'm not a sweet tooth guy, but I do enjoy, a treat from time to time. And I knew that, readers are going to want to have a couple desserts that they can go to. So yeah, we put a whole section in there with ingredients that you can either use or that would be good substitutes that would be a perfect start for like a keto pantry, including spices. I'm a big proponent of going out and buying spice blends that have multiple seasonings in them. I buy salt, pepper, garlic, and that is my go-to for just about everything. It's Spiceology makes a really good one, and there's a couple other companies that make a really good just salt, pepper, garlic, shaken on everything: steaks, veggies, everything in between. So,
yeah, this is exciting stuff. I'm excited to get your book. It's always. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, my cooking, my personal cooking for me is always just very, very plain. Salt, pepper, maybe some garlic or, red chili pepper or something very, very simple. Like just because I'm usually in a hurry and just want to throw it together. And that's usually what it comes down to. But it's always fun to see a new resource, a new tool like your book. And, I was just looking at your website and yes, it is very well designed. Got some good stuff there. Sauce, steak sauce that I'm like, ooh, I might have to try that. So we'll, that type of thing it's good to change it up every now and again. Maybe I can surprise the wife and actually make something really delicious that way.
There you go.
But yeah. What, outside of all of this, how has life been? How's your health? How's, things, we're all in spectrum on this journey. And the truth is all of us have probably had some, at least slowdowns in the last year and a half, 2 years. How's things been for you?
Well, for me, it's been up and down, but I've been able to hold the line. I haven't really gained any back. For all told, I'm still sitting about 270 pounds lost. With as I've got more to go. The biggest thing that I did that I'm incredibly proud of myself is I joined a gym after I can't tell you how many years. I haven't belonged to a gym in forever, and what I for was one specific thing. They have an indoor pool, and I started doing water aerobics 5 days a week at 5:30 in the morning. So I have been quite militant. I do a 90-minute MMA water aerobics routine from Bass Rutten. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But I stumbled across this routine where you wear these webbed gloves for resistance in the water, and you do all of these different arm motions. It's, a complete full body workout. Has helped everywhere that I can see, except really the scale. I'm not going to say that like I started, the pounds started flying off, but my strength has been better. My energy has been better. My balance has been better. And I know that just those lifestyle helps are going to lead to more weight loss as it comes and, as we keep going. So it's me adding the aqua aerobics and that, I hate saying it. I wish there was a cooler word for it because, I feel like I'm doing pirouettes and, synchronized swimming in the morning. But, I to throw in that MMA workout stuff. But it's been really helpful. I've really enjoyed it. It's gotten me into a great new routine. I come from the restaurant business where I don't go to bed until 4 a.m, and now I'm the guy who's going to bed at 9:30 and getting up at 4:30 and hitting the gym for 90 minutes before I go get my coffee and start work at 7. So it's been really good for me, and I think that. I think I was cooped up so long, and I think we were all cooped up and just out of our regular routines. And for me, I was kind of just lacking a lot of social interaction, and I wanted to get back out. And great, there's a group of people that go there at 5:30 every morning, so I've kind of been working out with them. And everybody does their own thing, and everybody has their own routine, but it's become this group where if you don't show up for a day or two, they call you. And they want to know where you've been. So
good
accountability.
That's the best type.
Yeah,
that's the best type.
I gotta say it, and it's the most unlikely group of people that I would have been, hanging out using as an accountability group. But I've embraced it, and it's been great. So I've been doing that for I want to say this is my 3rd month in a row, where I've been going Monday through Friday and getting my workouts in.
That's awesome.
That's the biggest thing for me is that I look back at this last 2 years and I wish I did more. I was the guy who was doing 1,000 push-ups in their basement while we were all locked down. I wasn't that guy. But I did build my business up during the pandemic. I worked on that. And I built a foundation for my business to where I now have the freedom and the spare time to get up and go to the gym every morning and be able to do that. So I think that, the reward of working hard on the business over the last year has now transitioned into me being able to work on myself more now. So I'm kind of trying to put that balance together.
Good for you, man.
It's awesome to hear. Yeah, absolutely. So out of this book, what is your single favorite recipe?
There's a couple. I'll name 3. There's the Parmesan wings that I love. And I mean, everybody loves wings, and those are one of my favorites. There's a sirloin steak with a creamy mustard sauce. And that actually used to be on one of the restaurants I used to work at. That was on the menu. Then there's cheese with cauliflower and brie cheese. We really going to put lobster in a cookbook for beginners? I said, you're damn right we are. and they kind of they waffled a little bit, but I won that one. So there's a lobster recipe in there, and it is easy. It's real simple. I call it like the date night lobster mac and cheese. You're not going to prep that on a Tuesday when you have 10 minutes, but a Friday night when you got your paycheck or whatever, and you got a couple extra bucks in your pocket, that's a great way to enjoy it and stay low carb.
No, I'm excited to get the book. I keep going through and looking at some of the stuff on the Amazon page and whatnot. It's kind of awesome, man. It's got to be a good feeling to see your name in print.
I agree. And it's funny, and I said this earlier. I said, it's really cool. You know that your mom and your dad and your family are going to buy it, but actual strangers have been buying my book.
Yeah.
If anybody else is listening who I don't know personally, let me go ahead and thank you. It's been really good. I think exceeded my expectation of how well it would do. Unfortunately, we're not on the New York Times bestseller list with my debut cookbook, but who knows? That's why we're gonna do another one, and we're gonna kind of grow this up and see how it does. But yeah, it is really cool to say that I have a cookbook. I got a little bit of flex now when we
it's
were
awesome.
We were joking the other day. A friend of mine, somebody was talking trash and used me as a flex. He said, "I'm sorry, we have a chef who's now a best-selling cookbook author." And I said, "It's cool when you say it. And if I say it, I seem like a jackass." But yes, it's been great. And I wanted to say I did also get my ticket notice for KetoCon, so I'm already making my plans for next July.
Awesome. Good deal.
So we should all just get like a giant Airbnb.
I'm ready, man.
Oh, Lord.
Yep. Yep.
Real world KetoCon. Yeah.
Pretty much.
I'll tow my trailer to cook up some briskets.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and Jim, you know that Real World was actually shot at least for one season in Austin. So that's not all that weird.
Oh no,
right?
I didn't realize that one. No, oh gosh. Yeah. Showing my age. Well, we want to do a little something to help with the numbers and whatnot. So the Keto Man's Club is going to buy 3 of the book, The Easy Keto Diet for Beginners. And we're going to figure out sometime in the next couple of days how we're going to get those sent out to 3 lucky people. So those of you that are listening, this means you got to go to our Keto Podcast page on Facebook if you're not a member of the groups, and keep an eye open. And once we get this put up for broadcast, we'll do something that we can get 3 books out to 3 lucky winners as well.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
No problem, man.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Absolutely.
I'll be bringing mine to Austin next year. I expect a signature.
You got it.
Okay.
I won't even charge you.
The picture, on the other hand, the picture's going to cost you $15.
I don't even respond to that.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I think this has been awesome to get to catch up, Frank. It's always great to hang out with you. It's been quite a while since we met each other at KetoCon all that time ago.
It seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, it does. But it's been great to have you on again. How can people connect with you online? You already mentioned the blog and whatnot, but on social media, how can people connect with you?
Yeah. I'm in Facebook when they're not going down or whatever. Definitely Culinary Lion on Instagram. I hate even admitting this, but I also have a TikTok page, some videos that are pretty entertaining to watch as far as keto recipes. And then, Facebook. So hit me up on social media if you got any cooking questions or need some help. I'm more than happy to answer them.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, a reminder to our listeners and viewers, and I do say viewers because hopefully we'll make sure that we have a video version of this episode up on the YouTube channel. We'd love for you to be able to watch and see this conversation happen. So check out our webpage, theketomansclub.com. It has embedded automatically. It's lovely. I don't have to do anything to make it happen. Our YouTube channel with all of our YouTube videos and all of our podcast episodes. And so you can just go to theketomansclub.com. You can also find our social media connections for Instagram for all 3 of the hosts. Like I mentioned before, you can find links to our partners the discount codes that are associated with each of those products and all of that. And I will probably add Frank's book to the list to make sure that gets that's easy to find. So definitely check out the website, theketomansclub.com. We'd love to hear from you. Again, the reviews thing we'll post on social media so that you can see all the quote process rules with that, just so that we can make sure that we attribute all the reviews properly. And so do that for us if you would. Any other last minute things, gents, before I close us out?
We survived the Facebook, Instagram shutdown of 2021.
Yes.
Yeah, the 8 hours of what the heck's going on in the world?
Where are you, my friends?
Yes. Well, and I realized, and I'm going to fix this, I don't have phone numbers for a lot of the people that I talk with on a regular basis. I have them on Instagram or I have them on Facebook Messenger, and that's where I communicate with them. So I will be remedying that. And I also went went about downloading all of my data from Instagram and Facebook to make sure that I have the images and the videos and things like that backed up in someplace other than just on the servers, because you never know what's going to happen. So it's good to have those precautions from your friendly IT guy. Well, that sounds like it's it for this week. Make sure to eat meat, lift heavy, sleep, and repeat.